I'm going to go over your math lesson for today. So today for math, you should have warmed up with riddle 14, what is a duck's favorite snack? And then for the next part of our lesson, you are going to need your big green math book. In your big green math book, we're going to go over your solve and share, your convince me, and then the problems on page 135 and 136. So if you need to log on to Pearson, you can go ahead and log on to Pearson, but if not, I'll be on Pearson and I'll be doing the work with you guys. So you should be on page 133 on the green paper that says solve and share. So when I log on to Pearson, this is what it looks like for me. It probably looks a little bit different than what your screen looks like. So again, we are starting a new lesson. It is 4.5, multiplication patterns, even and odd numbers. We are going to start with your solve and share. So your problem today for your solve and share is...
Prizes for a school fair are packaged with 2 of the same prizes in each package. Which of the prizes listed below can be packaged with none left over? Tell how you decided.
Okay. So they want to equally divide all of the number of prizes into groups of 2. So what we need to do is look at the prize type and then how much of that prize we have. So probably on your page, you guys can just go ahead and start copying what I am writing. I'm just going to go ahead and make a list of all the items that we have and how much of each item we have. So we know that a car, we have 6 hats, we have 15 balls, we have 23 boats, oh my, we have 18, and then books, we have 36. Okay, looking back at our question at the top, we need to equally divide all of these into groups of 2. We know that we need to equally divide them into groups of 2. So since we want to divide them equally into groups of 2, we know that we need to use division for all of this, right? Divide, divide, divide. Oops. And then we know we're dividing them by 2. Okay, so you need to go through your list and ask yourself, so which of these numbers can be equally divided by 2? Or you can do the other way, what number times 2 can give me the number in the front? So let's start with cars. Is there a number times 2 that can give me 6? Is there a number times 2 that can give me 6? We know that 3 times 2 will give me 6. So that equally divides, so that's good to go. Moving on to hats, we have a total of 15 hats. Is there anything times 2 that will give us 15? Anything times 2 give us 15. We know that 7 times 2 will give us 14. And then 8 times 2 will give us 16. So there's not a number times 2 that will give us 15. So that one is no good. Let's move on to balls. Is there a number times 2 that will give us 23? Can we equally divide 23 balls into groups of 2? Well, we know that 11 times 2 will give us 22. But then if we do 12 times 2, that will give us 24. So there is no number times 2 that will give us 23. So that's no good. Moving on to boats. Is there a number times 2 that will give us 18? Well, we know that 8 times 2 will give us 16. And then 9 times 2 will give us 18. That one's good to go. Boom. And then the last one, this one's kind of a big number. 36 divided by 2. Is there a number times 2 that will give us 36? Well, we know that, we know that 12 times 2 will give us 24. We know that 13 times 2 will give us 36. No, 26. My goodness. But what number times 2 will give us 36? 17 times 2 will give us 34. So we're getting closer. So then our next number should be 18 times 2. If we do 18 plus 18, that will give us 36. So those are good to go. So your 3 answers that can be equally divided. Which of the prizes listed below can be packaged with none left over? Tell how you decided. So we know that the car could be packaged. We know that the boat could be packaged. And we know that the books can be packaged with 2 prizes in each package and none left over. Yay! Did it. Okay, so that was your solve and share. So good job. Go ahead and fill out your look back. What do you notice about the numbers for the prizes that can be packaged in 2s with none left over? What do you notice about the prizes for the, what do you notice about the numbers for the other prizes? Would you notice anything that are similar? Well, we know that they can all be divided by 2, and we know that they're multiples by 2. Oh, I wish there was a way I could type. Oh, there we go. So this is on your look back, okay? All the numbers are multiples of 2. Oops, of 2. Oh my. Or you can say all the numbers that are packaged have either a 6, an 8, or a 6. You notice that, a 6, an 8, or a 6 in the ones place. And then the ones that cannot be packaged, they have either a 5 or a 3. And those numbers are not divisible by 2. We cannot divide those by 2. So we can also add, let's say, all the numbers that can be packaged in 2s with none left over have either a 6 or an 8 in the ones place. Okay, so that is your look back. Feel free to pause this video if you need to write that down. I'm going to go ahead and move on to the learning visual with Fred. You have finished your solve and share and the look back at the bottom. Go ahead and move on to page 134 in your book. So everything on the top of 134 is the same thing that you guys see on the visual bridge. It's just not animated. So if you need to see Fred and you want to see a visual that is moving, you guys got to log on to Pearson and it should bring you to Fred. We are going to go ahead and watch this together and then we will move on to the convince me at the bottom of 134. So go ahead and put your pencils down and we can watch Fred together. Oh my.
How can you explain multiplication patterns for even and odd numbers? Think about this question during the lesson. Nita says that the product of an even number and an odd number is always even. Is she correct? Even numbers are whole numbers that can be divided by 2 with none left over. Odd numbers are whole numbers that cannot be divided by 2 with none left over. What do you notice about the digits in the numbers from row to row? How can this help you understand even and odd numbers? From row to row, the ones digits stay the same, but the tens digits increase by 1. It is a pattern, so you know that all numbers with 2, 4, 6, 8, or 0 in the ones place are even, and all other numbers are odd.
Even numbers have 0, 2, 4, 6, or 8 in the ones place.
Okay, and if you don't remember, this is the ones place, this is the tens place. So in 12, like an example in the number 12, the 2 is in the ones place and the 1 is in the tens place. Okay, let's go ahead and try it. Explore Nita's statement. Select a box in the multiplication table to see the product. Okay, so let me click here.
2 times 3 equals 6. 6 equals 2 times 3, so 6 is even.
Let's go on to 6 times 3.
6 times 3 equals 18. 18 equals 2 times 9, so 18 is even.
Good. Okay, I'm not going to do all the numbers. Maybe I'll go ahead and do 6 times 9.
6 times 9 equals 54. 54 equals 2 times 27, so 54 is even.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and move on. I'm not going to do all the numbers. It's going to take too long, but I think you guys get it.
Even numbers greater than 0 can be shown as 2 equal groups. Think about 2 times 3 and 2 times 5. 2 is an even number. 2 times 3 means 2 equal groups of 3. 2 times 5 means 2 equal groups of 5. There are always 2 equal groups, so the product of 2 times any number is even. You can generalize. All even numbers are multiples of 2. Think about 4 times 3. You can think of 4 as 2 groups of 2. Using properties, which is another way to write 4 times 3 equals 2 times 2 times 3.
Select your answer.
So which one of these is another way that we can write 4 times 3 equals 2 times 2 in parentheses times 3? So what they want us to do in the second half of the problem, they want us to move the parentheses over. They just want us to switch it around, keep the same numbers, but they just want us to move the parentheses. So which one of these will show me the same problem, but we just move the parentheses around? Okay, so we know in this problem, we see the same numbers, 2 times 2 times 3. They just move the parentheses around. But in this problem, instead of a 2, they replaced a 2 with a 3. So they gave us an extra 3. So now this problem says 3 times 3 times 2. Those are not the same numbers as the one above here. So that is incorrect. There we go. Woohoo!
Using properties, you can write 4 times 3 equals 2 times 2 times 3 as 4 times 3 equals 2 times 2 times 3. So 4 times 3 equals 2 times 6. There are 2 equal groups of 6, so the product will be even. You can write any even number as 2 equal groups. So Nita is correct. Even times odd equals even. Now you know how you can explain multiplication patterns for even and odd numbers.
Woohoo! So now we are going to go on to the convince me at the bottom of 134. Let me go ahead and grab that. So it says on your convince me,
does multiplying by 8 also always result in an even product? Explain.
So we just learned that any number times an even number will always give you an even number. So what we need to think about is the number 8. Oops. Is the number 8 an even number? Is 8 even or odd? 8 is an even number, right? So 8 is an even number. So since 8 is an even number, let me go ahead and type this out so you can write it. 8 is an even number. You should be writing this on your convince me. So like they said, any number, oops, oh my, any number multiplied by 8 can be divided by 2. Since 8 is even, it can be divided by 2. By 2 with none left over. The product, remember the product is the answer, will always be even. So go ahead and write that on your convince me at the bottom of your workbook. And go ahead and pause this video if you still need to see the answer. So after your convince me, go ahead and move on to 135. This is when you are going to start doing your work. This is what my page looks like on Pearson. Unfortunately, I cannot write on this, so you are just going to have to listen, or you can go ahead and pause this video as much as you want. So up at the top, it just says another example. An odd number cannot be divided by 2 with none left over. So any odd number cannot be divided by 2 equally. Think about 3 times 5. Well, we know 3 is an odd number and 5 is an odd number. So 3 cannot be divided by 2 with none left over, and 5 can also not be divided by 2 with none left over. So because 3 is an odd number and 5 is an odd number, when you multiply that together, it'll give you 15, which makes 15 an odd number. So there you go. Both factors are odd. Odd numbers cannot be divided into 2 equal groups with none left over. So an odd number times an odd number will give you an odd number. So going on to guided practice. If you multiply 2 even numbers, will the product be even or odd? Well, we know an odd times an odd will give you an odd number. So what do you know about an even number? Go ahead and pause this if you need to. But an even number times an even number will give you another even number. So that can be like 2 times 2 will give you 4, or 4 times 4 will give you 16. You can do any problem you want, but any even number times another even number will give you another even number. So you can just go ahead and write that however you like. I'm going to go ahead and move on to do you know how over here on the other side. So write or circle to complete the sentences, then solve. So they are giving you the problem, 4 times 6 equals what? So they are breaking it down for you here. Can 4 be divided by 2? Is there a number times 2 that will give you 4? We know that is 2, so go ahead and write a 2 here. I cannot do it. Then they want to go the next step. Can 6 be divided by 2? Is there a number times 2 that will give you 6? That should be 3. Go ahead and write that there. So 4 times 6 is even or odd? Will 4 times 6, an even and an even number, give you an even or an odd number? 4 times 6. That should give you an even number. And then at the bottom, go ahead and solve for what your number will be. So 4 times 6 is 24. So go ahead and write 24 there. Okay, let's go ahead and move on to your independent practice. I'm not going to do all of this with you guys, but just go ahead and try your best. I'll go ahead and walk you through what I can, and then you guys can go from there. So independent practice. In numbers 3 through 5, circle the factors that can be divided by 2. So any number, if you see any of these numbers, circle anything that can be divided by 2. Then write even or odd to describe the product. The product is the answer. Don't forget that. And then solve the equation. So let's go to number 3. 9 times 5. You need to ask yourself, in 9 times 5, are there any factors that can be divided by 2? Since these are both odd numbers, they cannot be divided by 2. So what you need to do on the next part, 9 times 5, both odd numbers, on this line, is it going to give you even or an odd number? So since these are both odd numbers, an odd times an odd will give you an odd number. So you're going to write odd right here. So it's an odd number. And then you just go ahead and solve what the number will be. So 9 times 5 equals blank. I'm not going to go ahead and give you the answer. I know you guys can do that. So same thing for the next 2 problems. You need to look at the numbers first and see, can any of these numbers be divided by 2? I think I see something here and I see something here. So go ahead and circle whatever numbers can be divided by 2. And then the same thing on these 2 lines, you need to tell me, is the number going to be even or odd? I think that's pretty much it for now. It's going to be the same thing on problem solving. And then the same thing for 10 and 11. You guys are just going to have to read what they say. And then do your assessment practice. Okay? I think that's it for now. If you guys need help, feel free to jump on to Zoom. But I think you guys have got it for now. And then at the end, when you guys are done with your green book, go ahead and move on to your 4.5 Reteach to Build Understanding worksheet. Okay, that's just going to be a little review of what you just did in the workbook and just to see if you guys understood what we just did. Okay, see you guys later.